this category, but this has unbelievable ramifications for a guy who was so locked in to process. Nothing changes with this guy. So the LA Times just released the story. Representatives of Shohei Ohtani today accused his interpreter of engaging in a massive theft of Ohtani's funds to place bets with an allegedly illegal bookmaker who is a target of a federal investigation.
This isn't that nerdy.
Oh,
no. Lawyers for Ohtani made that claim after the Times learned that Ohtani's name had surfaced in the investigation of Matthew Bauer, an Orange County resident. Ohtani's representatives looked into the actions of the interpreter, Ippy Mizuhara, in response to the Times queries. A source close to the matter said. Two sources told the newspaper the money involved was in the millions of dollars. In a statement, the West Hollywood law firm Burke Brettler said, in the course of responding to recent media inquiries, we discovered that Shohei has been the victim of a massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to authorities. This is why this is a big deal. This guy is his right hand. This guy is with him every moment of the day, works out with him. Obviously, his interpreter, it's his connection to Japan. He has come with him from Japan. They are connected at the hip with the Angels. You did not see Ohtani without seeing Mizuhara. This is amazing. Attempts to reach Mizuhara were unsuccessful. Mizuhara placed bets with Bauer, according to the source who requested anonymity to share sensitive information.
My God.
Millions of dollars.
That's wild, man. That's actually a pretty crazy story.
And this is a guy who's, insanely private. I mean, he doesn't do media like other players do. I mean, and the teams let him get away with it.
Well, isn't the only person he deals with this guy?
This is it. The team does not provide the interpreter. It's his guy. He works out with him. This guy tells him he does everything.
So it's essentially the person he trusted more than anyone in the world.
Anyone in the world.
Besides his wife. Yeah. Wow. That is... Can I go as far as saying it's not what you want?
It is not what you want. It is shocking. There will be fallout from this.
And Ohtani's clean, right?
You know what? I was going to bring that up, but I didn't know if I should. They're going to have to investigate. Since this guy does everything for Ohtani, was he play? I don't think that's the case.
No, but I think you have to look into it.
Was he placing bets for Ohtani? And how did he get access to Ohtani's millions? He must have access to his money.
Well, he's...
Because he wasn't getting paid millions. I was actually thinking about that today. What could a great interpreter make? 100? 150?
Yeah, but it looks like he goes beyond that. If he's with them constantly. You're obviously sacrificing your life.
Yeah, he has no life. His life is Ohtani.
So you're going to have to pay him a handsome sum for him to be able to make those sacrifices. Or maybe he wasn't paying him enough.
This is unbelievable.
But just because of the access that he has, I mean, you just can't just say, well, poor Ohtani's not involved. If I had to guess, I wouldn't think he's involved, but I would think an investigation would have to see. Make sure Ohtani wasn't betting through this guy.
It's amazing. It's an amazing story, and we'll follow it as best we can. Let's go to Andrew in Rockaway. Andrew.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, Andrew.
I want to introduce a new segment. Instead of point guard, I think you might go with point slob. And I nominate Coach Rami idea as the first nominee.
First of all, Andrew, it's Coach Romy. Don't ruin the character. It's not Rami.
Coach Romy, who cares? No one
wants the movie.
But Coach Rami wouldn't work. Coach Romy works.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Rami.
I guarantee you one thing, Andrew. I don't know you, but I know this. Mm-hmm. If the Coach Romy vehicle came out in the theater or was streaming, you'd watch it.
No, I wouldn't. I never saw Grown Ups 2.
Well, so you can't be a judge. How can you judge you didn't see the magic?
Because
I judged it by 1. I knew that 2 was not worth it.
Well, 2, but 1 didn't have Coach Romy.
That's right. Now, I got to tell you, point slob is something.
I do like that.
Point slob.
I like it, Andrew. Good stuff.
Well, can I tell you something, Andrew? I'm honored. I really am.
Yeah.
To be the first of anything is a big deal.
The inaugural point slob.
And by the way, Grown Ups 2 grossed $133.7 million in North America, $113.4 million in other territories, a worldwide total of $247 million, and a budget of $80 million.
Wow, look at that.
That is pretty impressive. But
And you know what? I got a piece of the back end too, which is important.
Excuse me?
I am truly, I know you'll laugh at this, truly to this day still getting checks for Grown Up 2.
For like $12?
No, sometimes like $50, $60. Well, it's amazing.
Well, I every once in a while, for being an extra in Barbershop 3, I still get checks for 40 cents here, $1 here.
It's great.
Yeah, it's something.
I mean, if I could, I would. I wish I had his number. I would thank Adam Sandler every time I got a check.
You don't have his number?
I do not have his number.
Interesting.
I would have been excited to see Sandler the other day. I've never seen Sandler in the wild. Seeing Seinfeld in the wild was fun.
But you would have stopped Sandler because Sandler's approachable. Seinfeld's not.
Seinfeld is not approachable. He does not give approachable.
Even when you see, and I love Seinfeld, when you see him in like concert, he comes off as like really impressed with himself.
Yeah. No, I listen, it's funny. Like, don't get me wrong. I really like Jerry. But there is something absolutely unlikable about Jerry. There is a thing there. And it's funny because Larry, he
puts off the vibe, don't bother me, but he seems very approachable.
Yeah, it's weird. No, you'd still be scared to approach him, I think, if you just saw him, Larry. But like, even though Larry is clearly prickly, he's much more self-deprecating.
Yes, Jerry's not self-deprecating.
Jerry's not really self-deprecating. He really, So I think that's what the main difference is between Larry and Jerry. And I'm excited for this week's Curb. What a huge swing it's been the last few weeks.
It's very. Here's what somebody said, and I think this could be true. So he's going to go on trial for the water incident in Atlanta.
Yeah, I've heard some theories.
Because he is that type of guy where he has been vilified for the way Seinfeld ended, which he wrote.
Yep.
He's going to end up in jail at the end of Curb.
Oh, there's been subtle little references to it all season.
Yep.
There's been at least two. Now, I didn't watch last Sunday's, so I'm not completely caught up. But there's been that little, like the exchange from last week, I guess the week before, with Ted Danson. Like it just seemed like out of nowhere, right? Because he thought that Lori Loughlin was he directed her in Seinfeld, and he's like, no, and they just out of nowhere. But you directed the last episode, right? It's like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did, Ted. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And then, the lawyer Mantle, he screwed up the filing, so now they have to go to trial. I'm telling you, he's going to end up in jail like the end of Seinfeld.
And then the bit that I heard people suggested, it's like wrestling with people predicting how they think it'll play out. The suggestion was it will end up being that all the people who've hated him over the years will testify against him.
Right, just like Seinfeld.
Mocha Joe will be in there.
Right,
Danson.
You mentioned
Danson.
Mocha Joe.
Yeah.
Wasn't the lawyer?
Yes, Mocha Joe.
Yeah, it was like, look, it was him, but he's like, you look like somebody. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, you know what? It's all coming together. I think he's giving up too much.
Let's go to Ziggy in New Jersey. Zigster, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? You're absolutely right about the Seinfeld Curb prediction because Jerry Seinfeld did say that they're going to do some type of Seinfeld reunion coming up.
No, where did he say that?
He said it on his stand-up. You can look it up.
Wow.
But they said that the reunion was on Curb.
No, apparently he said there's something else coming up.
There's something else.
All right.
And yes. Okay, so
don't doubt Ziggy.
I just want to say that I played The Woman Road to the Show, and I want to say that it was actually very amazing how you got drafted. I got drafted by the Phillies. I played it last night, and I completely condone how it was cool to have a woman playing baseball.
Good.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if you guys think that could ever happen in real life.
I guess
baseball's a tough one.
But of all, well, I guess basketball I think would be probably. But basketball is very physical. Baseball's not as physical. So maybe a pitcher because it doesn't have to hit. I mean, a woman who throws really hard. Maybe. I don't know. I would never say never.
I would think most likely to play in the men's pro game would be
It'd be basketball.
it would be a shooter in basketball, right?
Yeah, it should just be like maybe just work the perimeter.
Kicker in football.
Well, because you do, kicker in football because we don't have. I mean, when you go back to League of Their Own, but we don't have anything relevant. It's all softball players, right? So, have we seen anybody play hardball that we'd say, I think her game can translate to the bigs?
I don't know. I think the only position that could translate to the bigs would be pitcher.
But that's so weird too, because they don't throw overhand in softball.
But if you find didn't the girl Monet, the Little League girl, she was amazing. She threw hard and she threw overhand.
And there are plenty of women that can play hockey from a skill standpoint, but I think the game
is too physical.
What
about, this is going to sound crazy. This is going to sound crazy, and it's going to get people screaming.
Well, the word just came out, Ohtani fired his interpreter, you think?
Well, okay, good.
It's like if he knew, if he didn't.
That would be suspicious.
The news would be Ohtani stands by interpreter.
I'm good with it. I'll do it again. Ohtani says I do it again. This is going to sound crazy. Could it possibly ever be a quarterback?
No.
Why?
Because you get folded in half.
But I mean, there are thin men who get folded in half. You know what I mean? Like someone who can run, have a big arm. It's hard to picture because we've never pictured it before. But I wonder, because it has to be a position where you're not imposing your physicality, because that wouldn't make sense. It's not going to be a D-end. But I don't know. I feel like it's remotely possible.
Our good buddy, graphics joker, Joe Morasek, said supposedly Jerry helped write the finale, so that's a giveaway. Which is weird, because the show's not really written. It's laid out in an outline, and then you ad-lib from there.
But I guess the ideas, the concept, you've got to write something down, right? Different ideas for endings and all that. The dialogue may be a little loose, but...
Now, Peter, I want you to do me a favor. Go to the Google machine and call up Ohtani's interpreter. And tell me that if you saw this guy walking down the street, that you think he is capable of committing a crime where he stole millions of dollars from the guy who is his life.
No.
He looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
He's giving Shaggy.
Long hair, like flopping down over his forehead and his eyes.
Yeah. Not an imposing figure.
Not at all. So it doesn't seem like he has nefarious in him, but obviously he does. Now, he's accused. It hasn't been proven.
Well, that's the thing about looking at someone and making any sort of judgment on them whatsoever. It's basically a fail the second you try to do it. That is... that must be... I have to tell you, by the way, there could be, like, very serious long-term ramifications from this.
How so?
In terms of how it affects him.
Yeah, it could really mess with his mind.
This is a really private guy.
Yeah.
This is a private guy who really is a guy with set routines, who moves in his own way.
And this guy is his guy. I can't emphasize enough.
Now, how is Shohei's English, though?
I don't think it's as great as Ichiro's was, but Ichiro wouldn't speak in public. Like, if he was talking to players, he had perfect English. I've never heard I think he understands his teammates.
So that's really the key, because if his English is still really rough, then it's really a scary thing to lose that person. He's like your security blanket. But hopefully by this point, if he's a decent speaker, maybe it's a little less scary. But
no, I don't think he would ever conduct an interview in English. He's very private.
But to starting in a new, with a new team, fortunately not too far away from the old team. Did he move?
Yeah.
He did move?
Oh, no, I think he could still live in Newport Beach and go to the Dodger Stadium. They're only 40 minutes apart.
Right, like equidistant probably, right?
Anthony Greek said Manon Reum. I don't know how to...
Yeah, Manon Reum.
Yeah, played goalie for the Tampa Bay Lightning in an exhibition game.
Yes.
She allowed 2 goals on 9 shots in 1 period.
That is possible, right? So I guess that would be the position. That if, because we got the Professional Women's Hockey League here, great goaltender, that would probably be the avenue. I think it would probably be like a point guard shooter in the NBA, goalie in the NHL would be the best chance. And the thing with Rayon, that was 30 years ago, so we really haven't progressed forward as far as any other opportunity.
Bob Nightingale of USA Today, somewhat correcting what we said, the Dodgers fired Ippy Mizuhara. But he doesn't work for them, unless that was part of the deal that Ohtani made, and you guys pay him.
Probably.
A massive theft of Ohtani's funds. And to place bets with an illegal bookmaker when there's legal betting all around the country.
Now, my buddy Carmine asked the question, Peter, what about soccer? Could there be a great women's player to get at least MLS?
I don't know the game well enough to guess. You would think that would be on the table, but I really don't know.
You know what you do well? You know very well?
Better help.
Yeah.
It's a good. He did well.
He did well. Well earned. So there's so many layers to this, and Incarcerated Bob pointed out to me as well. Imagine if this guy's
incarceration.
Imagine if the guy was betting on baseball. So then there's going to be the connect. Is he getting information from Ohtani? And let me tell you how inextricably linked they are. When he throws in the outfield, throws to this guy. When he eats with this guy. When a team has something to tell Ohtani, when he was at the Angels, they went through this guy. This guy was an extension of Ohtani. An extension of Ohtani.
Now, here's the thing about it, if it was in any way connected to baseball. Considering it's his attorneys, it's Shohei's attorneys that are bringing this up. Right. I'm sure they wouldn't be doing so if they were worried it was linked to baseball in any way related to Ohtani. Oh, but the guy was privy to information.
The guy's privy. He's in clubhouses.
Right.
And I mean, I don't think that baseball wants to discipline Ohtani, but if this stuff is true, you essentially brought a criminal who stole money from you into the baseball inner circle. Oof. So he knew everything that was going on. He knew scouting reports of other teams. He knew what was going on with the Angels and the Dodgers. I mean, wouldn't you like to have that information before you bet?
Wow. This could have very big ramification.
I think we got to dive even deeper into this tomorrow. It's wow. It's just a big wow. Let's go to Phil in the car. Phil.
Hey, Michael, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Does Ohtani have an agent?
Does he what?
Have an agent?
Yes, he does. Naz Bielo, I think his name is.
Because the question is, how come this guy stole so much money and Ohtani didn't know? I just feel like Ohtani has he's involved with this gambling. The reason they fired him because they make a deal with him, and then he's cheaper to pay him for 15 years than Ohtani lose a year suspension. No.
Well, I mean, Ohtani would be. I mean, if he was betting on baseball, he'd be suspended for life. Look at Pete Rose. But I mean, we're taking a leap here. It just seems a little odd to me that this guy would have access to millions of Ohtani's money.
Well,
why?
The reason there's logic behind it is if you completely trust the guy. Like, you always make fun of me with Nancy, right? She handles all the money and all that.
But you're married to Nancy.
Right, but it sounds like they were almost married to each other from a business standpoint.
Yep.
I mean, Ohtani probably trusted this guy, that he was constantly with him, probably handled his money, and that's where he saw the opportunity. I got all access to this money. Wouldn't be the first time. How many times accountants steal from bands or steal from artists or steal from actors because they just don't want to be bogged down with having to worry about paying their mortgage and paying their rent and all that. And so he trusts this guy in everything that he does, and the guy clearly took advantage of it.
But still, I mean, so he's got his ATM card. He's got power of attorney. Again,
well,
this is just scratching. And the fact that Ohtani's attorneys came out and said, again, we're just trying to extrapolate here. Maybe they're trying to get ahead of it. Who knows? Because there can be no connection to Ohtani or he's going to get into trouble. But then you think, as close as they were, how's there not some sort of connection? And if they find out that baseball is being bet, I mean, it is an entirely ugly Pandora's box situation.
That might be why they got involved. It's like maybe it's trending towards eventually this guy is going to start betting baseball, and we've got to get out ahead of this before it starts to happen.
And this guy be a sacrificial lamb. This guy could go to jail. So he's going to take the hit for something and go and spend so much time in jail? And if you look at this guy, again, you can't tell a book by his cover. I don't think he's going to be he's not going to be running the jail cell. So this is a story with a lot of legs. A lot of legs. Wow. Shocking. Really, really shocking. Big ENN coming up. There's no bigger ENN than the one in the middle of the week because it sets the tone to the end of the week.
Hump day. Hump day.
Hump day ENN. Spell it that way. Hump day ENN.
Hump day in.
That's right. But first, Don has to tell you about Mazda.